Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leaderboard. Presented by the Loadout? No, presented by the Daily Dot. That's capital D, capital D, capital D. You know that? Remember it, please, I insist. I am your loyal host, Jared Wynn, bringing you yet one more night, just the one today, only one night this night, of esports news, discussion, debate, and diatribes. I am joined, as I so frequently am, by the one, the only, well, there might be two or three of them, actually, Ian Double John Barker. Ian, how are you? And are you the original Ian?
I mean, probably. I don't remember any Ians before me.
Very definitive.
So, it seems likely.
I trust probablys to be definitive answers. That
me
sounds
too.
Good to me. Also joining me, way over from the couch reporting live, Efren Salinas. Efren, how's the weather over there?
About the same, but well, I guess the lower you go, it's a little cooler. It's a little hotter up there, man. There's a lot of hot air up on the
goes
desk.
up, it drifts up. That's how it works. That's how meteorology works.
Yes.
You can't meet still beams though, or can't melt still beams as opposed to meeting.
Anyway,
can't meme still beams. Okay, this weekend, did you guys know some big esports events took place? We're going to take a broad view of the esports scene here on the Leaderboard, as we do. ESL Cologne, big major in Cologne, Germany, for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. That's a pretty big deal. It is, as a matter of fact. Fnatic won the whole tournament. You know that? Fnatic winning the whole thing.
I did know of it. I also know that they tend to win frequently, so it's not exactly groundbreaking, is it?
They were largely considered the world's best team going in, and coming out, they are definitely considered the world's best team, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, without any doubt whatsoever. They are the best in the world. Envious, finishing in second place. Virtus Pro, tied for third, perhaps being considered the second best team in the world, though. Even though they didn't finish in second place as Envy did, VP, they beat Cloud9 in the group stage. They beat NIP in the quarterfinals. They gave Fnatic their stiffest challenge of the event. I think Virtus Pro is a solid number 2 choice behind Fnatic. Of course, Fnatic, the number 1 choice. People talking about some chemistry issues for Fnatic going into the event. They seemed okay to me when they won the whole thing.
I didn't see any problems there,
as they
dominated everyone.
You thought they were okay? They were fine?
I thought they did okay.
They got by?
They beat Envy, so
yeah,
I won't hold that against them.
They beat everyone, as a matter of fact, actually. They beat all the teams. They did. I saw today $4.2 million handed out to the teams in Cologne. An interesting thing, because the prize pool was only $250,000. So you have $4.2 million handed out. How does that happen? How does it work? What do you think, guys? How does that come to be?
Just like magnets.
I have the answer. Magnets. That's very close, actually. In fact, it might be magnets. Do magnets put the stickers on the guns in Counter-Strike? Is that how that works?
Well, you can scratch them off, so
maybe not magnets.
Maybe
they're very light magnets, like super light magnets. Anyway, team stickers, as Ian alluded to, and player signature stickers are what produced the $4.2 million for the Counter-Strike Global Offensive professional teams in Cologne. You divvy that up, it's like over $200,000 per team.
Was it distributed evenly, or did they make money based on what stickers were sold?
I don't think it's distributed completely evenly. And it is a thing there because you have obviously more interest in Cloud9 stickers and NIP stickers than you do in Immunity and eBettle stickers. More interested in Shroud stickers and Skadoodle stickers than you have in, I don't know, who's someone who... Freiburg stickers. I don't know. Freiburg's
eBettle players.
He struggled. You gotta list players if you're gonna go there. No one knows eBettle players. That's a joke, Ian. No one can list eBettle players.
Give me 5 minutes and I'll know eBettle players. I promise.
Please. A big event for Fnatic, kind of reasserting themselves as the best Counter-Strike team in the world, reminding everyone, hey, everyone, we are the best Counter-Strike team in the world, just like I just said. That's what they did there. Also, the LCS finals in both Europe and North America. Fnatic did not finish perfect. In fact, they went to a 5th and final game with Origin before they won that. So they got the title. It was exciting, but not quite perfection. Some respectability save for Europe's other league teams.
Would you say that was Origin's fault or Fnatic's fault, though? Did Fnatic look worse and that's why they didn't finish perfect, or did Origin get better?
Origin played quite well.
I agree.
They did. They played quite well. I was impressed by Origin, but even more impressed by Fnatic and their undefeated regular season split, capped by an LCS title. And, of course, Counter Logic Gaming, in honor of our own Stephen Brokenwater main, going 3-0 in the final. After going 3-0 in the semifinal against Team Impulse, they go 3-0 against TSM. They slap them around. Double had a pentakill on the big stage. It was just glory be for Counter Logic Gaming as they put to fruition all the hopes and dreams of CLG fans everywhere.
It really wasn't close, was it?
No.
It really wasn't.
Dominated that series. It was a disparate thing. It was disparate. It was positively disparate. Very impressed by CLG. Doublelift doing the thing. Powell out there at times outplaying Bjergsen. There was a 1v1, I think in game 2, near the middle of the river, where Pobelter just like kind of danced around him.
That was Yasuo versus Victor, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
it was.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play.
It was a beautiful
play.
little play by Pobelter there, showing that that link of the 18-page manifesto perhaps not missed by CLG. Perhaps just throwing it out there. So a title for Doublelift, for Afromu, for Pobelter, for Nick Smithy, for Zion Spartan. All of them.
Everybody involved.
It's raining titles. Titles being just like raining in the club. Titles for you, titles for you, titles for you. CLG bathing in titles when they go home now. And
Just the one.
yeah, all 5 members bathing in one tub with the one title.
They had to count it as 5 individual titles.
Yes, that's what they did. Yeah, exactly. So great news for CLG.
Indeed.
Not as great for TSM, although both teams go to Worlds now. They do both go to Worlds. Fnatic going to Worlds. Origin not yet. Origin going to the qualification tournament. H2K is the second European team to go to Worlds. LGD Gaming from China also going to Worlds, as well as AHQ Esports Club and Flash Wolves from Taiwan. So there you go. And the wildcard tournament's going on right now, as a matter of fact. Worlds getting set up. Riot World Championships coming together.
It's an exciting time.
It
I will
is.
say, even as someone who is not specifically a League of Legends fan, it's a very exciting time.
But broadly, you are, certainly.
Well, sir, I'm a fan of esports, and there's a few that can argue that Riot Games does esports poorly.
Some might.
I'm sure someone will.
Some might argue they do everything poorly, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to say any names, but I'm just throwing the possibility out there. So that's the world of Counter-Strike and Global Offensive and League of Legends. Ian, I've seen just a handful, a smidge roster movement in Dota 2, and I am shocked because the International just ended, and I would never expect roster changes after International.
Goodness, no, Jared.
Heavens, Betsy.
No. They were all best friends going into the event, and obviously coming short of winning $6 million would, of course, make them best friends going out of the event.
So you've seen, of course, the big secret news, the big EG news, but that's in the past now. We've seen more news in the past week or so. What to you is the biggest, most impactful change or new team, if you prefer, because there was one of those as well?
There were actually 4 moves in total, if I'm remembering them all correctly. The first one was the formation of a new team secret, Weehaw, Eternal Envy, Misery, Puppy, and I forget who their 5th is. So shame on me. Obviously, a big opportunity for them. Weehaw looking like one of the best players in North America. God, I hope I'm remembering that right. I apologize, guys. I had a couple Red Bulls today, and I'm now crashing hard. But I'm doing my best for the fans. That's what I do. That's why I show up for this show, is for the fans.
In you. Yeah, I believe.
Moving on, Digital Chaos, the new team formed by Owie. Obviously, a surprise.
World champion Owie.
Yes.
Hey.
Recently minted millionaire Owie 2000, kicked from the team that helped get him there, and he helped get there.
World champion cut player Owie 2000.
I've heard better sports stories before. Forming Digital Chaos, going with an entirely new lineup, and strangely taking former Team Liquid players that have not done so well recently. TC on Root Gaming, not doing great.
Not so much. No.
Bulba not doing great on Mouse Sports. But who knows? Maybe the 8th time's the charm.
But hey, I know what the difference is.
What is it?
Suns fan.
Suns fan.
Yeah,
Suns fan is
he's
what's
going to do it. His managing capabilities and his enthusiasm for the game.
I hear a tone of irony in your voice, but the truth is a good organization does make a big difference in the world of Dota. There are a lot of poorly run organizations out there. I won't name any specifically, but there are certainly some extremely well-run organizations, and they tend to be near the top.
I am, honest to Betsy, a fan of Suns fan.
Yeah?
If you like.
Yeah, no, I'm a Suns fan as well.
Yeah, so I think he could do the good things.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's just very interesting in an age when there's so many strong brands out there to form your own brand. But then again, we've seen what happened with a team like Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm forms their new organization, and suddenly they're kind of freaking everywhere.
Suns fan and Raynad, not a direct comparison, though.
Probably not.
A little bit different.
Different personalities. Anyway, the next movement was LGD, bringing in ROTK and DDC in place of Yao and Zhao 8. Really disappointing for a lot of Chinese Dota fans. Obviously, Zhao 8 is the director. He was the guy who streamed his wedding to hundreds of thousands of Chinese Dota fans. I mean, he's just a beloved player and somebody who now has been in the top 3 of 2 internationals running with 2 different teams. Obviously, that's no coincidence. Now that he's out, I imagine we'll see another sort of big god scenario where all the players who retire decide, okay, maybe I'm not done yet. And we'll get a bunch of people on the same. I guarantee you that will happen.
I've heard Yao is a little bit burnt out, just a little bit. Couldn't sleep at night. That's usually a good sign. You might play too much Dota.
Probably time to step away.
Yeah,
Agreed. And then the final roster movement was Empire, getting rid of Always Want to Fly and Yoki, and bringing in, I believe his name was Urba? I can't remember. He's sort of an unknown CIS player, but obviously something had to change for Team Empire. They're a team that consistently does well, And then when they show up to the main event, not so great. So who knows? I don't think they understand that the problem may not be the organization itself, but the way that they prepare for the international. We'll see if they learn their lesson when the majors come.
I got a
around.
good joke for you.
Let's hear it.
That Team Empire does that is no secret.
Oh,
Because Secret also did that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a good Ed McMahon laugh. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
almost took my microphone off with that
You'd
one.
drink under the table and you'd be Eddie Man in no time. Or Red Bull, at least.
You said it, Jared.
Yep. Johnny. I prefer Johnny,
I
actually.
could call you Johnny if you want.
Efren, the world of fighting games always turns. It never stops, as a matter of fact. It is constantly turning. That's what I mean when I say it never stops. Tell me, what happened this week in the scene?
Well, the big news, and we broke it live on our show, Best of Three, was that the CEO of Zevron, I hope we get into this bigger conversation about the esports world entering the FGC world. And you notice how the esports world air quotes are larger out than the FGC quotes. But the CEO of Zevron, CEO by default because he was holding on with every fiber of his being, announced that in fact Zevron is now officially dissolved. If you remember, Zevron had a rather prominent Heroes of the Storm team and a couple other teams, but as far as the fighting game news goes, they made a big splash by a month prior to, or just prior to EVO, signing Kazunoko, one of the best unsigned talent still left out there, to a degree, low-hanging fruit. Fast forward a month later, a couple of weeks ago, and Zevron dissolves, the Heroes of the Storm team reverts to their previous name, one of the owners leaves. Long story short, Jeff Sudarth stayed holding the bag, as we mentioned last time. He was trying to make it work. Kazunoko gave him a month, which shows confidence on Kazunoko's part to even give him that much. Long story short, it is official. Zevron is gone. No longer is Jeff trying to make an attempt to hold on to Kazunoko, and Kazunoko is once again a free agent. So the conversation I wanted to get into with regards to fighting game community topics is this idea that the esports world is starting to infiltrate. They taste the blood in the water. Street Fighter V is about to hit, and as a result, it's going to be popular. There's a lot of money being put into it, and the guys that have been in the game longer, those whole sponsoring game, see a fat cow, when they see it, right? That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's a metaphor,
makes
sure.
sense, as a matter of fact.
But the idea being Jeff Sudarth and Zevron are the first of many, I anticipate, to try to get a bite of that FGC pie.
Let me throw a couple things at you here, Efren. In response, well, first of all, they're not the first. There's a number of people that get into fighting games.
Certainly, EG has the strongest
one of the biggest
roster of players, but those guys are established, so to speak. Zevron literally appeared overnight. At least they were Murloc geniuses first. They turned into Zevron, tried to expand, and then it fell apart. Certainly, Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses, there are plenty of established and responsible sponsors of esports teams that are in this space, and we like them. These other guys who are like, hey, this is cool, I can do it, let me hop in, not as much.
I think Murloc Genius is actually the Heroes of the Storm team, even now. I would say esports has already infiltrated fighting games. That's kind of old news now. I'd also propose to you this idea. Let me just bounce it off of you. It seems to me convenient timing to contract, air quotes, contract Kazunoko for a year right before the single biggest and most visible fighting game tournament of the year. Almost like you want to have your name in that tournament, in that mix, regardless of whether you can actually support the contract you just signed the player for.
I believe you just also articulated the history of sponsorship before the international. Similar thing, we have a lot of organizations get in, think they can support a Dota team, don't really know how to run one, but they have their name on the biggest Dota tournament of the year.
So who's at fault, though?
Did you just say Mouse Sports, by the way?
I believe implicitly I did.
Yeah, I heard Mouse Sports.
You
somewhere
heard
in
Mouse
there.
Sports.
Without you saying it, I still heard the name. It's like a weird echo thing, going on in the studio.
Must be the audio.
Jared, I hear what you're saying, and certainly that is not uncommon, and it's not the first time it's happened. Always around an EVO or, an international in this case. That shit always happens. My question to you, or to you guys, since you are from the esports journalism world, and I'm, a newcomer coming from the fighting game community world.
Welcome.
Thank you. Is it the player's fault? Is it the team's fault? Or is it the sponsor's fault? Like, who does the burden fall on? Like, wait a second, let me do my homework. These guys are, pimple-faced teenagers. Or, and I'm sorry, that's probably just a little too disparaging. Or...
Kazunoko doesn't have pimples, does he?
I think he had maybe
Is he
a
a
little bit.
teenager?
He is beautiful.
No, he's like a 24-year-old
Katsunoko has
man
gorgeous skin.
with
Damn,
gorgeous
Efren.
mane. Long story short, they act that way. Act like an adult. Act like a professional. These are people's lives that you're potentially, or at least their professional lives, that you're so callously throwing around. Yeah, I'm going to sponsor you. Sure. We're going to get you all going. Hey, let's get you a shirt printed. Let's do all these things. And then everybody has egg on their face.
I think the majority of the blame has to go with the organizer, the CEO, quote unquote. That's like the biggest air quotes I could have, actually, is the CEO position when you have a company like Zevron. Like, really? What are you the CEO of exactly? You're the CEO of a name, of a brand, of a brand. More air quotes. Air quotes all day with esports organizations, you know? It's definitely, the buck stops with the organization and with purposefully, in some cases, maybe with Zevron, deceiving players and making them think they're going to get paid, even have long-term security, a year-long contract for Katsunoko, when they actually just want to get their name out there, have some publicity, and then just kind of, dissolve the team, say it's dissolved, and expect the requirements, the responsibilities of the contract to be just absolved.
It's a scumbag move.
Yeah, it is a scumbag move, and they certainly have the blame for it. The players could do more to make sure that they are that they're not. The players could do more to make sure they're not being deceived. They could be a little more astute, but you can't put the blame on their shoes.
So
they
when
want
do
to
we
get
reach?
paid.
Well, at what point do you reach that point where it's like, okay, we can't be naive about this anymore. We can't expect. This makes Evil Geniuses look a lot better. This makes Mad Cats look a lot better. It's like, damn, I wish I could get that sponsor. Or for that effect, for that matter, Red Bull Esports, right? They just signed Snake Eyes. If we're talking fighting
Right.
games. Is there a boot camp? Is there rules that need to be put in place? Is there some kind of body that needs to oversee it all?
I think at this point there needs to be, at the very least, some sort of ebook to tell people how to run an esports.
They already have
organization.
ebooks. You can download them on Amazon. But I hear what you're saying.
How to run an
Maybe like
esports.
a Twitter account that has esports advice all the time for players and team managers. It's one of those things. Our good friend Richard Lewis frequently campaigns for players' unions and better representation. It just doesn't exist right now. That kind of infrastructure for players to support players does not exist because it's a young industry, and the first people to come in there are looking to make money from it and make money off the players. They're not looking to support and represent the players. Only recently have we seen real substantial efforts to support and to back and to give legal advice, for example, to anyone at all. I'm sure there's exceptions, but by and large. So it is definitely
as a general practice.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
as like a general thing you can actually expect to have happen. So, and plus, also keep in mind, there's no like collegiate system for these kids to go through and like kind of learn the ropes of life. They go through the ropes of playing on the internet a lot, and then they come into organizations and to tournaments like this who want to take advantage of them and make money off of them. A 17-year-old is not necessarily going to know which company is best to side with when contracts come their way. It's a
Well,
lot
then
to
they
ask
should
for.
call their mommy or their daddy and get some advice.
They should.
Because this is not, it's a game that you're playing, but when it comes to money and, sponsorships and all these things, come on, just get real.
And I have to actually agree with you, Efren. I think that we're at a point right now where the organization is in place. There are people who are running teams properly. Plain and simple, we're getting to a point where we're creating careers for these players. And to do anything short of take care of these players in the most responsible way possible, you leaning on experience and solid business practices and solid legal advice is nothing short of egregious. It's simply ridiculous.
Simply ridiculous.
So, I don't just want to shit all over fighting game players and
This goes for all
Inroads.
players across all
Yeah,
of
it's
gaming.
a ubiquitous problem.
But moving on, but still on the topic of fighting games, coming up is Summer Jam, and there's a couple of topics of conversation here. Summer Jam is always a fun tournament. It usually comes at the end of summer, of course. School year is
Makes
starting
sense.
up again
Yeah,
for some.
Summer Jam. I can see that.
So this week, or late last week, it landed that the Next Level Arcade in Brooklyn was potentially going to fold. Where am I going with this? We're talking about Summer Jam. Well, let's follow down this path.
Let's
with me,
listen.
guys.
I'm going
We're
on
just
the journey
listening
with
to
you.
Yeah, we're
So the
following
guy
you.
that streams the Next Level Battle Circuit, which is a weekly tournament at the Brooklyn Next Level Arcade, is none other than Team Spooky, a luminary, a legend, master streamer in the fighting game community. The guy that they get to stream at Evo. I'll put it that way, at the main stage. He was given a little bit of information about some of the woes that the two owners of the Next Level Arcade were having, and immediately took to Twitch and said, "You know what? This is the last Next Level Battle Circuit. We're gonna have one more, and you guys can see me at Summer Jam." That ended up blowing up in his face because it's not true. Henry Sen, one of the owners of Next Level, should have been given the opportunity to make that announcement. It should not have been Spooky. So there's a little bit of backlash on him. So just for the morbid curiosity, people should check out just to see what Spooky might have to say or not have to say. Maybe he's learned his lesson. He won't be saying much. But Summer Jam. So the idea that somebody got ahead of themselves is one thing worth talking about. The other thing that I think is potentially more exciting is that at Summer Jam, although there's going to be a ton of games, and both Melee and Smash 4 have I think $1,000 prize pot, extra prize on there, is my favorite topic, which is people who have money matches ahead of time based off of beef. And in this case, it'll be in Mortal Kombat X, and it's none other than Carl Perfect Legend White and Sonic Fox, whose name escapes me at the moment because you can only think of that guy as Sonic Fox. They've been going at it on Twitter. They've been calling each other out. They've been posting as if they're the other person saying, "Oh, I'm Perfect Legend. I can't adapt. I'm going to cry about it." And then Perfect Legend says, "Oh, I'm Sonic Fox. I complain about these things, and then they get patched, and now my character's better." Hilarious. $100 money match isn't anything to write home about, but it still makes it a little more exciting. I had been losing a little bit of steam and excitement for Mortal Kombat X. This is going to get me to watch. Your guys' thoughts on Twitter beefs, money matches, talking shit?
I'm a fan in general.
I as well.
Not so much Twitter beefs, but because Twitter beefs, anyone can have a Twitter beef. That doesn't make much sense. Well, it makes some sense if you're a asshole on Twitter, I guess. But otherwise, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Are you an asshole on Twitter?
Not really. No, not really.
I'm proud of you.
What are you
for
going to
that.
accomplish with that? Really. But a money match, put $1,000 on the line, play for it. Like a Mango Leffen style deal.
Yeah.
That's.
I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Now, $100. I mean, is your pride worth $100? Perfect Legend. Is your pride worth $100, Sonic Fox?
At this point, Perfect Legend's pride is probably worth $100.
Oh.
Maybe not Sonic Fox, but
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Because he's a loser now, is what you're saying? Because he can't win games?
he was a loser.
That guy won a couple of Evos. He won Mortal Kombat 9.
Consecutively, yeah.
I'm not sure. He probably won an Injustice, but I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know if he did. I think he won twice in a row in Mortal Kombat for sure.
And if you're not familiar, the reason why we lumped those games together is because those are the NetherRealm Studios games. The Mortal Kombat guys did the Injustice game. Just so NRS Games, Warner Brothers bought the studio that makes those. They became NetherRealm Studios. They've made Mortal Kombat 9, Injustice, and Mortal Kombat X since.
And so they play very similarly then, I'm assuming?
Definitely. The one of the staples of a game from this studio is what they call the dial-a combo. So in Street Fighter, and this is being remedied in Street Fighter 5, but in the Street Fighter 4 series, you literally have to time out the button presses to get your combos and your cancels and all that good stuff. In the Mortal Kombat games, you can literally type square, triangle, circle, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 4 in that case, and at any speed, and they'll come out.
Huh.
plus the block button.
Plus the block button. Now, Injustice did not have a block button. They had the whole hold back to block thing. And Mortal Kombat X has a run button, which Mortal Kombat 9 didn't have. But the point being that I would argue that they have a lower barrier of entry. The games are hard to play. You can't. People make the argument that it's all 50-50s and high pressure, and you have to block low and high, and it's a lot of guessing. But if it was all guessing, you wouldn't have the same people at the top every time.
That sounds like Super Street Fighter 4.
I'm not so sure because if you play a lot of the ability to apply pressure in Mortal Kombat X, for example, you can run pressure, high-low mix-ups. It's very hard to not get blown up.
I didn't say Ultra, but I mean the Vortex days were sad days if you didn't like bullshit mix-up, basically.
Of course, that was. I mean, it's always a major complaint when it comes to fighting games. And as you pointed out, in Ultra, they added the delayed wake-up so that you could disrupt that me having to guess on my wake-up, meaning I've been knocked down and I'm about to be active again.
Oh, Kuma knocked me down. I'll just put my controller down.
Exactly.
I
mean, you put your controller down if you're playing Marvel, right? Like that's the game where I watch all my life go down in 100 plus.
That's why it's best 3 of 5 because you can put your controller down 3 times in a row in Marvel, which is the most fun way to do it.
If I can interject very briefly,
you can
regarding Twitter
You
beefs.
will.
Twitter beefs. Here we go.
Twitter beefs. The thing that always gets me, I am actually a huge fan of Twitter beefs in professional sports because it's two grown men throwing insults back and forth at each other. In the case of somebody like Ronda Rousey, it's a couple of grown women throwing insults at each other. Just grown-ups being grown-ups, right? If there's one problem I have with
1 second. Is throwing insults on Twitter grown-ups being grown-ups?
okay. You got me there.
Just pull back a little bit.
You got me there. It's just people doing their thing, slinging some mud.
Sure.
As it's most of the time it's meant to sort of bruise the ego, but you're not saying like, hey, you're a bad mother. It's nothing that bad. The problem that I have with Twitter beefs in esports in particular is I've seen any number of them happen in, especially in Dota 2. People tend to get very combative, very. Up in arms about their performance and about other people's
Do they
performance.
get snippy? Yeah.
They get a little grumpy, and it feels like in esports these Twitter beefs tend to devolve into sort of, why are you being so mean to me? I used to be your friend. Like it gets like people start to take it like way too personal. I've seen that happen over and over again. So I think that's one of the things that I really like about the Sonic Fox Perfect Legend Twitter beef is that it seems to be more of a sports beef than an esports beef, if I can make that comparison.
You can.
And if I could just give a disclaimer, if you want to
did.
go out and check out Sonic Fox's Twitter handle, make sure it's the CR Sonic Fox and not just the Sonic Fox Twitter handle, because
Why is that, Efren?
I was scrolling through the Sonic Fox Twitter handle trying to find these tweets, and
What'd you find, Efren?
moving on, it's some very vulgar material.
Images for mommies and daddies.
Basically, dinosaurs with reproductive organs going at it with Sonic Fox, the blue wolf.
We all got an education in the studio the
I was
other
like,
day.
what the hell? And why is Sonic Fox posting all this? Like, what are his team, his
Well-
sponsors gonna say? And then I realized that I was on the wrong Twitter handle.
We know the answer to why he might post some of that stuff out, actually. But, hey,
To each their own. But I didn't expect
Don't-
a guy who's sponsored and a prominent figure in the fighting community to be posting that,
Okay.
and I was correct. He does
I'm
not
no
post
biologist, but don't most dinosaurs have reproductive organs? Why point that out specifically, Efren?
that. Okay, but a massive male genitalia, which also has a side of female genitalia.
If it's a dinosaur, is it a massive dinosaur? We should move on, I suppose.
We're going to make this okay
Hey,
somehow.
Nature finds a way.
Our
If you've
main-
seen Jurassic Park,
You forgot the us. Nature finds a way.
that's a very good Jeff Goldblum.
You gotta get. It's okay. I've done better, honestly. I've done better Jeff Goldblums, if you know what I mean. The main topic for today, though, is our very platform here you're watching us on. Depending on how you're watching, you could be watching live on Twitch, live on YouTube, or VOD on YouTube, highlight on Twitch. If we highlight this, a VOD on Twitch. So many ways. I could continue, but I won't. Please
Hey,
don't.
Jared, what's behind you?
A television. So yeah, streaming platforms like YouTube Gaming and Twitch, and this one right here, YouTube Gaming, which I just said, they're competing now.
Indeed you did.
Twitch competing against someone. They've previously had companies like Azubo go against them. Azubo,
They didn't really compete. They sort of just ran over them.
they
if I'm not
weren't.
mistaken.
Azubo wanted to compete, and Twitch was like, "Who?
They took a big step and they.
Hey, Ian, do you know what Twitch said?
What did they say?
Azu who?
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, God.
Nope, he's got me there.
Bing bang boom.
Okay.
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, you got me.
There you
Yeah.
go. I did
Nope.
get you there.
I fell
I
for it.
got you on that one. Oh my goodness, that was very nice. Anyway,
Anyway.
yes, YouTube Gaming, I've heard, has some money in the bank. They're owned by a rich company by the name of Alphabet. Is that it? Is that? Oh, is it,
more
is
commonly known as
Google. Actually, I guess the different. I see this
Alphabet owns Google, owns you. Yeah, that works out.
little fun trick for
Like a
you there.
transitive property.
I'm not actually sure if they own Google. It's kind of a weird.
I thought they sort of.
Yes.
They do
Alphabet owns Google.
They technically own. You know what?
You heard it here first.
That's enough of this. YouTube Gaming has money, basically. They have money. They have a bit of an install base as well in YouTube. YouTube is, by the way, the second biggest search platform on the internet behind Google. So they have some market share to work with. They've got some stuff going on. They can do their thing. They can compete with anybody. Twitch has that Amazon money. That seems in this industry to be limitless. But I mean, you compare Amazon money to Google money. That's a big bucks comparison right there.
That is.
So the question is, with YouTube Gaming having launched, and you see it again on the screen behind me, is YouTube Gaming here to stay? Is it going to compete with Twitch? And what can it do?
I'm pretty sure it's going to flop hard.
Okay,
You think so?
give me the hard take,
think so.
Efren.
I mean, who's ever heard of YouTube? You know what I mean? Go no further.
That's all Efren gets to say on the subject. he gets no more. He gets no more talking points in this entire discussion.
At least he had the courage
Ian,
to say it.
Ian, counterpoint.
Counterpoint. Easiest counterpoint in my life. I'll start off with your first question. Is YouTube Gaming here to stay? I think the question is a 100% unequivocal yes.
Or the answer is.
What did I say? The question.
The question is.
I'll answer your question with a question.
Actually,
yes.
The question actually was, is it here to stay, Ian? To correct you, I don't mean to.
Well, my answer is 100% unequivocally yes.
Okay.
It's obviously a platform that's gunning for Twitch's traffic, and they have the tools to do so. They have the engineering team, the servers, the UI, they have the wherewithal, and more importantly, the money.
One question, though.
Yes.
They don't yet have the talent or the games that are exclusive to Twitch.
Do you remember the movie Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened when they built it?
They came.
Are you guys okay? You
Really?
guys, A, you guys are perverts. B, you guys are ridiculous if you don't think that they're already there. It is not if you build it, they will come. Try not to snicker. It's that they're already there. YouTube, next to people listening to music on YouTube, gaming is by far the most popular thing that people go to YouTube for.
That's a good point.
And also, the person whose channel has the absolute by gobs the largest subscription base is PewDiePie, who streams what? Games. It doesn't have to be esports, and we were talking about this earlier today. It's gaming, and gaming content is YouTube is a destination already for gaming content.
There is a discussion to be had there over communities, because I think PewDiePie's viewers and community are often very different from the Twitch viewership. For example, on YouTube, you have a giant, like an entire subset of Minecraft streamers, content creators, I guess I should say.
Yeah,
people,
creators.
content creators, and many young fans actually. Many young, like a lot of kids are really into YouTube and Minecraft. I've known kids, I've seen kids who like really enjoy Minecraft on YouTube. It's like a big thing.
Sure.
You don't have a lot of that on Twitch. On Twitch, you have Kappa and Franker Z, and you have
So are you-
speedruns, and you have like League of Legends streams and LBC, things like that. It's a very different culture that's been cultivated.
So are you already seeing a breakup in like age groups, demographics?
Well, Twitch has tried to do that. Twitch has hired people like Mike Ross, like Hiko, like
D1.
like D1. They've hired people to kind of make the communities and competitive gaming a part of what Twitch is, and say, hey, if you are into esports, if you're in competitive gaming, if you're into Smash, into fighting games, into Street Fighter, Counter-Strike, any of these things, Twitch is your home. This is where you belong. Not the other website that you might sometimes think about when you want to stream music without having to pay for it. You know, that's not where you go. You go to Twitch for your gaming needs. It's a different service. I think it's a different market. It's a different consumer for now. Now, YouTube obviously wants to change that. They want to come in here and take everything, take the whole pie. And Twitch, I think their strategy will evolve as time goes on. But as it currently stands, the foundation YouTube has built in terms of gaming is, I think, very different. The most crossover you have is like people who want to go and see a game that was played. Like if you want to go and see a spoiler-free VOD from the LCS final, it's on YouTube, not on Twitch, because YouTube's more convenient for watching that sort of thing.
Now, Jared, the thing that we were discussing earlier was, I have seen League of Legends, StarCraft. I've seen plenty of things live on YouTube. And the idea being, if it's already there, the other thing I do on YouTube is watch the VODs after the fact. If they're already there in one nice page, why go to two sites? I can't be bothered to click that many times, Jared.
You can't?
Of course I can.
You get an email when you're watching Twitch, it's like, I can't check my email right now. I have to stay on Twitch. There's too many clicks.
You joke about that,
Taking
but
their time.
it is shocking how little friction it takes to get somebody to unsubscribe, leave a page, dismiss a service forever. It is shocking.
Don't get
how
any
little
ideas
it
out there.
takes. Don't
get any ideas.
Fucking think about it.
Yeah, so I understand the point. I do. But I think Twitch is, again, it's so much a part of competitive gaming and of gaming in general. Speedruns, you know, even Let's Plays are a big thing on Twitch.
Let's Plays are massive.
That's the
on
thing.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's much bigger on YouTube. But again, it's a different format. I
Correct.
think there's a lot of potential. Obviously, like, to be clear, YouTube gaming has unlimited potential. I'm not arguing against that. I do think there's just a separation there right now. I think the idea that YouTube gaming is already there in the sense that it's on like in the same plane as Twitch is getting ahead of oneself and looking at it. I think you have to see it as a very different environment right now. It will change. It's going to change. How it changes remains to be seen. And I think it depends on how YouTube gaming handles itself as a thing, as an entity, and on how Twitch counters YouTube gaming. And I think Twitch, one of the best things it could do is to provide a better VOD service. That would be, I think, a big thing.
Want to bring up a point really quick.
By the way,
that
Twitch now, like, they actually have gotten away from VODs. They cut down, like, used to be that all of your broadcasts, sorry for interrupting you, were infinite, and they're being recorded. Now it's just 2 weeks, unless you highlight it. You can highlight unlimited broadcasts, but they have cut down on the space, like the hard drive space. I don't know if that's really the right way to put it, but they don't have enough room for all these. Yeah, they don't have enough room.
They had to empty their recycling bin.
Yeah, they need to get solid state. I think is what they need to do.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they don't have enough room for all these streams to be going on all the time. YouTube has infinite room.
Infinite room.
Infinite room. YouTube exists in a void in space. That's where the servers are.
Something I wanted to interject really quick. It's something we actually didn't talk about on the show earlier. YouTube gaming. YouTube actually has had a built-in funding platform for YouTube partners. Now, as we know, YouTube partnership is much easier to obtain than Twitch partnership is. And Rubber Ducks Are Yellow, a frequent visitor, how you doing, man? Brought up the fact that if you want to stream on Twitch, you already have a built-in donation platform, whereas on Twitch, in order to make money, you need to have a certain viewership. I'm sorry. No, on Twitch.
You said Twitch both times.
Did I? I meant that YouTube has an inbuilt.
YouTube is first.
Okay. YouTube has an built-in donation platform already for even the smallest streamer, as long as they're partnered. Whereas obtaining Twitch partnership and getting a subscriber button is obviously much more difficult on Twitch than it is on YouTube.
Here's a question I posed to you.
Let's hear it.
Why is it then that many people who make a living based off streaming gaming content do so on Twitch? What makes them do that on Twitch and not YouTube?
See, and I would counter by saying that while there are a lot of people who do make money streaming on Twitch, I would argue that there's probably a larger number of people who do that on YouTube just through produced content. And
I'm sure there is, YouTube being much bigger than Twitch. But I'm asking you to reason out for me why it is that people do that on Twitch at all. Like, what is the draw for a streamer on Twitch to be a professional streamer
You're
on
live
Twitch?
and you can hit an ad button. Run an ad.
Yeah. I would agree with Efren. The ability to just hit the ad button, money. Hit the ad button, money. I mean, obviously, people aren't using it so gratuitously, but they understand the community. They understand how it works. And also, I would also say that that's where the culture is. I mean, to your point earlier, that's where esports sort of grew up. That's where the Franker Z's and the Kappas are happening. So they go there. I would, obviously concede because the audience is there. The audience knows where to find them on Twitch. Now, the question is, would we have the same thing on YouTube had YouTube Gaming come out in place of Twitch? Probably.
I don't think it's all about ads. Like, in fact, the full-time streamers I watch who make a living off of full-time streaming, they might average like 1,000 to 3,000 viewers at a time. It seems pretty small, but it's good enough for a living. They get their money from subscriptions. They get their money from their community, and Twitch does a good job of fostering that community. You have the custom emotes that give you a sense of you're a part of something. You own part of this channel. You get to announce when you resubscribe. You've been a subscriber here for 6 months. Hey, it's a big celebration. And the streamer has like a fucking graphic pop up and like, hey, thanks R2156 for subscribing for 6 months. I really appreciate it, dude.
Is that your name?
No, it's not actually.
Right.
I could say my name on stream. It's too precious, as a matter of fact.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. So that sense of community, I think it's underrated as like how big a part of what Twitch does it is, and that is not going to be easy for YouTube to recreate with money.
And that's what we were talking about when we went on earlier today, talking about, hey, YouTube Gaming is launched. Let's get our opinions out there. And one of the things we were discussing was how much, literally, cannot be overstated, the amount of footwork and legwork, rather, that the Twitch staff has done, spearheaded by Fishsticks. I've seen him at events. Now you have the Mike Rosses and other people to, infiltrate the specific, not infiltrate, but
subsets.
Exactly. So, the fighting games over here and that and the other. So, again, the conclusion I arrived at was that YouTube owes Twitch a massive thank you or debt of gratitude for all the work that they've already done. You talked about the community and making them feel like they're a part of it. Twitch has helped build that in a very major way that cannot be understated.
Yeah, and they built it for themselves on their own channels. Again, I think it remains to be seen how YouTube can recreate that because what makes YouTube more than just a new list of channels, basically? What makes YouTube more than just a new website where you can do the same thing you already do on Twitch?
Riddle me this. Thought that I had after our show this afternoon. I talked a little bit this afternoon about bringing the streaming audience to YouTube. Obviously, a large swath of it already exists on YouTube. The question is YouTube Gaming about bringing Twitch to YouTube, or is it about introducing YouTube to streaming? Because consider the fact that there's already a community around Minecraft. There's already a community around Five Nights at Freddy's. These places exist. And at this point, the users who have been posting post-production videos on YouTube have been limited to interacting with users in chat. Now, the question is, if somebody like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye goes live and suddenly they're able to interact with their fans, if a big Minecraft community contributor goes live and he already has 2.6 million subscribers, I think that represents not necessarily, something that doesn't represent something YouTube hasn't already envisioned with this platform. That's something that I think that's something that they've already thought of when they put this together, is let's get our YouTubers streaming.
That is something to point out also, is that it's not just for streaming. YouTube Gaming, or gaming.youtube.com, that's your new splash page. Like for a Markiplier, he doesn't have to be live for you to go there to get his content anyway.
By the way, that's a great tagline for them. It's not just for streaming. Gaming, you should be a marketer.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, for them, actually.
One thing that we could talk about. I've been wanting to talk about this Mario game behind us too.
Well, I'm going to talk shit about it actually, because it's like Boshi fan games have been doing this for years. I want to be the guy fan games, and I want to be the Boshi fan games.
I mean, if you want to poke a hole in it, it's
Nintendo,
also just kind of fun.
Late to the party.
I mean,
I'm poking holes. That's what I'm here to do. Actually,
you can't just enjoy something, can you?
Nintendo, wagging my finger at you.
Efren, I want to hear what you were talking about.
Yeah,
well,
I do
first
too,
of all, just one more thought on this. I love this whole Mario Maker thing. I know that's not the topic, but it's being streamed on YouTube Gaming, and
It
we're
is
talking about
now.
YouTube Gaming. So
And we didn't find it till this afternoon.
exactly,
Like on stream when we were talking about it.
But what I like about it is, tell me that doesn't remind you of just the idea of like building the levels and everything. For some reason, reminds me of Mario Paint and like just Nintendo.
Yeah.
Reuniting you with the fun of creating something. I'm actually really excited about that game.
Yeah.
I don't have a Wii U, but Pokken Tournament might have to get one.
Yeah.
What I did want to bring up, though, which is somewhat different, or rather to highlight a difference between the Twitch streams and the YouTube streams, are how they handle copyright and playing music. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. On Twitch, if you start playing Katy Perry in your stream, they won't cut you off, but in the VODs later, that whole chunk is muted. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, let me read to you what the Content ID claims on live streams and Hangouts on air for YouTube. This is the YouTube help page. Content ID, which is their technology, scans all live streams and Hangouts on air for third-party content. When Content ID identifies third-party content, a placeholder image may replace your live broadcast. In short, people have already been saying this is unsubstantiated, but somebody said that they got muted and banned immediately, like they shut down their stream because they were singing happy birthday to somebody. Meaning they will immediately, their little Google bots will get all up in there and say, hey, that sounds like Katy Perry's Fireworks. Is that one of her songs?
Yeah.
Sure.
Boom. Muted live.
Well, YouTubers already have a lot of trouble with the copyright stuff. I mean, it's been a well-documented issue. You have copyright bots going nuts on videos without any reason to. You have false claims being made. So this is a potential worm can right here. It really is for live streaming. It's even worse if you're a live streamer to have this happen to you than it is if you upload a VOD, because you're streaming, your audience is expecting you to be live, and all of a sudden you're shut down, you're suspended because of some fucking copyright thing. What do you do? Where do you go from there? You contact support and wait for the next day. That's it.
My question then is it a bridge too far as a streamer to just not play copyright music?
Or sing happy birthday.
but YouTube has done a good job. They offer you all kinds of music.
But yeah, and that's true. And there's lots of Creative Commons music out there. There's lots of things that you can listen to. You could also just play the game sounds, listen to your iPhone at the same time and have one earbud in your. I mean, once again, is it a bridge too far to just not stream copyright? I mean, I get that they get blocked if it's happy birthday, but happy birthday has always been the quintessential example
For the record,
of
that
over
was an unsubstantiated claim that somebody got.
Well, there's two things there. First of all, again, I want to point out there's been issues with the copyright bots before. They don't just flag stuff that should be flagged. It's a problem on YouTube at times. Second, you could be right, but tell a streamer that. I mean, really, if you have to qualify things like this for a streamer, why not just stay at Twitch? If they have the option and they want to play music during the background of their streams, and a lot of them do, I'm a Cutie Play has rap songs on the background of his streams every time he goes live. He's extremely popular. Why would he forsake that just because YouTube wants him to?
He wouldn't, but does YouTube Gaming need him to?
If they want him on their stream, I mean, if they don't need him to. YouTube has the money to do whatever the fuck they want. But if they want him to be there, then they would probably need to. It's just it's something that Twitch offers basically that YouTube doesn't now. It's like a feature of Twitch. So you don't get muted or banned or suspended or whatever is going to happen to you if you have a copyright claim sound playing in your stream.
On the other hand, I will say though, it's probably better both for YouTube gaming as a platform, for streaming as an entity, and for the individual broadcasters themselves to have that stuff just taken care of. I know it sucks. I know that ideally you want
Taken care of, like, not
to have it muted, because at a certain point, somebody's property is going to get so big that a music house is going to come to them and go, "You're infringing copyright and you owe us a lot of money."
I'm not sure
that's going to happen.
I'm not sure what
at
the
some
legal
point.
boundary is, and you have like a song playing in the background while you're playing League of Legends. I don't really know how that works live.
Well, I mean, we know that there's an element of fair use when it comes to streaming video games. I believe that was an issue that came up as Twitch started to grow. I believe we've settled that to a degree. But I mean, you know, the RIAA, they're hemorrhaging money with all this music streaming stuff, and I'm sure they're going to get as ravenous as they want. So with copyright holders getting hungry for infringements, looking for opportunities to shut people down, I feel like it's better for the broadcasters as a platform to just cut out the middleman, keep them from getting in trouble. I mean, because if you have a subscriber base of like 2 million people and you're suddenly getting hit with a copyright claim from a music, you know, what is the size of that copyright claim? What sort of damages are they going to ask for based on your user base because you stream to 13 people on YouTube Gaming?
Well, I have a feeling that since Twitch outlawed this type of content on VODs, but not on live content, there is some separation there in terms of legality. I wouldn't imagine they would make an arbitrary decision to do that.
I would be interested to hear, or did they not have the technology to enforce it on live?
I would have a hard time believing that they got bought out for $1 billion. Surely they have some capability.
However, they did have to scale back their VOD system in order to make room on their server. Do they? I mean, I think it's a legitimate question.
As two very different issues.
As a growing company, though, no, because it takes. I'm sure it takes server power, resources to process all those streams at once for copyright claims, and then go out and enforce them. Was it a matter of resource? These are questions I really want to hear about as the streaming war develops. I mean, God only knows, maybe in a couple months we'll see Twitch come out with their own live
streaming war. What
Yeah.
we're going to call it now.
The streaming war.
The
I like
stream
that.
wars. Don't
You heard
cross
it here
the
first.
stream.
The war of the streams. You know, well, basically the answer to this is we don't know what the reason is for Twitch's separation.
Unfortunately,
we don't know why Twitch does not do it while YouTube does. And for the time being, it is an advantage for Twitch because they have that kind of thing allowed. That's all we know for right now.
Absolutely true.
There's one thing I want to speculate on. Again, we're talking about, we don't know these things. There's plenty that we will find out as time goes on. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, because I thought it was an interesting point of conversation, is when YouTube Gaming came out with that splash page, and it was basically that little polygon heart, and every little diamond on it was a different sound effect. There was a lot of nods to Nintendo games and to Blizzard games. There was a Jobs Ready from, I'm pretty sure that's StarCraft. It might be
StarCraft.
Warcraft or some Warcraft, right? Anyway.
Yep, StarCraft.
There was also a Hearthstone sound effect. And Ian and I were talking about this earlier on the previous show. Is that an indication that they might have some kind of exclusivity with deals? I would not imagine in a million years that Nintendo games can only be streamed on YouTube or YouTube Gaming. But I can see partnerships, Nintendo and YouTube Gaming doing an event together or something to that effect. Is that something we're going to start to see, and is that the new battleground, is who gets those events?
Well, one thing in traditional sports, obviously, is broadcast rights. You know, the NFL is broadcasted by CBS, by Fox, by ESPN, and by NBC because they have contracts with the NFL. Esports, competitive gaming, not anywhere near that point yet. Eventually, that's going to happen. It's an eventuality, but it's also a very different space. Cable television compared to online streaming platforms is very, very different. You know, the legalities involved, just that alone, like how you do the contracts in that space, are so different that we can barely speculate. Like something like that's going to happen, but the form it will take on and how that will happen is completely unknown territory. And like we could only speculate even more loosely than we just did on the copyright thing.
I don't want to be alive when streaming lobbyists hit Washington. I don't want to see.
So you want to die soon?
Yeah, good point.
Because I mean, we're headed.
Maybe
there.
I'm okay with being alive.
This is a fast-moving train we're on.
Won't be happy with
The
it.
stream war is a fast-moving train, Ian. It is.
The stream train now?
The stream train, yes. The stream train war. The war of the trains, if you prefer.
I don't.
Thomas
I don't.
versus YouTube.
Thomas the stream train.
Thomas the Twitch engine. Or some shit. I don't know. So that's good. What Ephraim says is going to happen. Again, it's just a matter of how it happens, what format it takes on. For the time being, and for any foreseeable future, I don't see Valve or...
We kill that audio?
Someone's joining us on the stream here. I don't see Valve or Blizzard or anyone else or Riot wanting to do exclusivity with Twitch or with YouTube, because why limit your audience when the entire industry is so focused on growth right now?
But I mean, just take for example, this is apples and oranges to a degree, but why would Street Fighter V only be on PlayStation 4 if they could have double the hardcore gamer audience if they were also on Xbox One? Because Sony paid a boatload of money to get those exclusive rights.
They're also on PC.
Correct. But the point being, why would you only go to YouTube? Because YouTube made a deal. Why would you only be on Twitch? Because Twitch made the deal.
Well, with Capcom, it's also different because Sony's financing, to a large extent, the competitive structure around Street Fighter now. That's probably part of, well, I would say it's not probably, it is part of the deal there with Sony having exclusivity
I guess
consoles.
my point was, it makes sense when there's money there. You follow the money. Is there a reason for you to do that? Yes, because we're lining the pocket. I mean, that sounds sinister or unpleasant, but what I mean to say is, that's how you get to the
I absolutely agree, but you also notice, like, compare these days to the days of, like, the Genesis versus the Super NES, or the PlayStation versus the Saturn versus the Nintendo 64. There are far fewer exclusive titles now than there used to be. Used to, exclusivity was a big thing. Even, like, recently as the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, exclusivity was a huge thing. Now, it's like, a few notable titles a year.
As a counterpoint to that, I think that part of what had to do with the exclusivity issue in gaming was the fact that there was a massive equipment investment in buying a gaming console. I mean, obviously, if you spend $400 on a Christmas present and your child can't play any of the games they want to, that's a problem. I feel like there's less of a barrier to entry here that opens up the opportunity for exclusive deals. For example, maybe the Hearthstone Heroes of the Storm World Championships will be on YouTube Gaming this year.
Well, I've seen interviews and I've spoken to developers who say, like, the reason that you are on all platforms now is because it just makes financial sense. There's no reason to limit yourself unless you have a really good deal. You are in bed with Sony. You are in bed with Microsoft. Like, unless you're to that point, to that extent, it just makes more sense to reach all of the consumers. So again, for Riot, why go exclusive to Twitch or to YouTube? Esports is how they market games. The LCS, that's League of Legends marketing right there. That's all it is. That's why it exists. So why limit that to people who watch YouTube or who watch Twitch or who watch Azubu?
And I could see your point there. The one thing that I will say in response to that is that look at what MLG TV tried to do with Call of Duty. Now, I know what you're going to say. It maybe didn't work out so well. There's a lot of speculation as to whether or not they did it properly. But what they did with Call of Duty is they tried to give it its own platform in order to sort of bring it out of the shadow of games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends. And I don't know personally, or as an industry observer, if there's any validity to that strategy. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that YouTube Gaming, one thing that it does much better than Twitch is content discovery. And if it's easier to get to the Heroes of the Storm World Championship on YouTube Gaming than it is to try to look down through the list of games and find it in the melee, if you will, of Twitch, I think it's sort of a no-brainer for people who want to put their property in the best light and have it be the biggest fish in the pond, if that makes sense.
I mean, I guess, but you could also just put it on Azubu and be the biggest fish by default. It's a matter of
we're speaking about
a range of things there.
Platforms that have a viewership and have on viable platforms. It makes sense to present your content in the best light, and if your content is forced to compete not only with the forces working against you, you have to create promotion, advertisement. If you not only have to fight against, the forces of discovery, but also the 5 or 6 or 7 games that are sort of burying your title, I don't think that's a favorable situation for any publisher. Now I know what you're going to say. When Heroes of the Storm has a world championship, it's obviously not going to be the 8th place game on Twitch. That said, I still think there's something to be said about the fact that Twitch does a poor job of elevating content, produced content, maybe content that people don't know about yet, to a place where it can be discovered.
The question is, does YouTube do that better? Will they?
That's an excellent question, and I don't know the answer because the platform just launched today. But
it's easy to look at YouTube Gaming as an answer to some of these things because they haven't had any time to not be an answer yet.
They're a vessel for our hopes and dreams.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't had any time to fuck up, so it's like, oh, sure, that'll work out. I will say, I think with MLG.TV, a lot of that was also about just owning their own revenue streams. Not just about promoting COD in a different way.
That's true.
It was like
they did offer a different situation for streamers than Twitch did.
Yeah, and for their own streams, frankly.
Hey, speaking of different experiences, let's
That's
test
broad,
out
Efren.
live one of the features that people are excited about YouTube Gaming for.
What's that?
That is your very own instant replay. How does it work? You were talking about this, Ian.
I was.
So this is a stream here. I'm not sure what game they're playing because I can't see.
Heroes of the
Let
Storm.
me back up for you. Yeah, this is Heroes of the Storm.
Okay, I'm just gonna hit a button here and see what happens.
Got a little bit
That
of
looks
fun.
like what we saw earlier if we were watching. But the idea of the instant replay, I sometimes, I go to Twitch to watch my fighting game streams. This weekend I'll be watching Summer Jam on my Twitch because I got my awesome Google Chromecast and I like to watch it on my TV. Now, the question being, or the concern being, sometimes I got to get up and drain the main vein, man. You know what I mean? And I don't want to miss anything. Pausing it doesn't help on Twitch because if you hit play, it gets you back to live. Ian,
What does this show become?
You never heard that one?
Actually
Anyway,
haven't.
the instant replay, being able to rewind how I want, is something that appeals to me.
I just like how he has to put gameplay in the title of this stream. It's very YouTube, actually. Just throwing it out there.
What did he say? What does it say?
No, it's Heroes of the Storm, and then in parentheses gameplay, just so you guys know. Like, this is
Well,
very
and
YouTube.
that's definitely
Welcome to streaming, guys.
that's definitely an anachronism, or I'm sorry, maybe an idiosyncrasy. I got to look up
It's
a
a
dictionary.
thing
It's a
on
thing
YouTube.
that they do on YouTube. I remember for the longest time when people would do Let's Plays of like horror games, they would say, for example, Jacksepticeye, who's someone that I watch regularly, he had Penumbra, face cam, and gameplay. That's obvious how times have changed, but that's one of those anachronisms
Now
of
you can
Twitch.
just be on Twitch,
Indeed.
and that's like your standard broadcast. So
Indeed.
we'll see. I mean, that is a definitely a thing in favor of YouTube. I think that's something Twitch could try to implement themselves. The arms race in the stream war and the train
The
race.
stream trains wars train Twitch.
Yes, the train to stream wars is now underway. Get your ticket for the train.
Is that like the gun show?
No, it's not the gun show.
Very
It's not like
similar.
tickets to the gun show?
No. Tickets to the gun show are much more expensive, actually.
I heard
Is
they
that
sold
right?
out as well.
Yeah, and you get something very different when you go to the gun show. On that note, that's it for today's leaderboard experience. Hope you enjoyed the ride on the train to this show, as a matter of fact. If you did, you can follow the channel down there here on Twitch, as a matter of fact. YouTube Gaming, you can actually just subscribe to the channel.
Also
Because all VODs go to YouTube. Did you know that? Now you know. Miss any part of any show, find it on YouTube. Daily.esports. Subscribe. On Facebook and Twitter at .esports. And for all the best in esports news reporting and features and opinion and all that good shit, daily.com. Look us up there. Thanks for watching. Back tomorrow with Richard Lewis to discuss ESL Cologne. The results. He was there in person. He saw it live. His flesh and blood. His beating heart was in Cologne, Germany. Talk to him about
His
that.
cold, dead heart.
His cold, dead, beating heart was in Germany. We'll talk to him about that tomorrow. So join us then.